It's so nice to be back with you again today. I hope you have had a wonderful week again. It still is not the same sitting here without you guys and without seeing all your faces, but hopefully you've been enjoying the videos and you've been enjoying getting to spend time at home. Hopefully nothing's been too crazy, but that you just got to enjoy your time and you've got to enjoy some outside weather that's been nice this week or whatever it is, because I know I have. So I made a mistake. I have somehow misplaced our lesson that we have been doing. So for this week, we're going to do one that is a little different. But hopefully by next week, I'll have found the other papers and we'll be back at it to finish off our 3-part series. And hopefully the next Sunday, I will finally get to see all your faces in person. If you have been watching this video and you did not go to Sequoia, I am so glad you are here and I am so glad you decided to tune in. And whether or not you ever get to come to our church doors or whether you just watch the videos on YouTube, I just want to say that I've enjoyed having you and I've enjoyed you being here and that hopefully things will get back to normal and that you'll be able to go back to your home church or wherever you go very, very, very soon. So for today, we're going to read a lesson, which is kind of fitting coming off of Easter last week. So it kind of ties in a little bit and kind of ties into what's going on today in our world and kind of the craziness because it's something that's never happened before to us in this time in which we live. And so it's something we're all learning about, something that's very different and scary and challenging. So I just wanted to give you a little hope and a little joy today and this morning. So this lesson is titled Jesus Gives Life and Hope. And we're going to do 2 parts today. And then we'll come back and either we'll finish the 2 parts in the next couple weeks. Maybe next Sunday I'll do 2 lessons, finishing this one and the other one. Or I'll just make another video when we come back to church and you guys can finish it that way. Either way, we're going to finish both of our series and that we were working on. So for this one, it's a story that I'm sure you're slightly familiar with. If you're not, then cool. Today you get to talk more about it. But it's really tying in with our Easter from last week. So I may even say the words Easter a little bit. And that's fine. Because, right, we should celebrate what happened around Easter. What happened all the time. Because that's what gives us life and hope. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so here's our visual for part 1. Now, I'm probably going to look down a whole lot because I'm going to be reading from my lap. But you guys can look at the picture. I'll try to point out some things if you want to see a little closer view of the picture and what it is. So it's Jesus teaching to a group of people. And we're going to find out why. So, when you hear the words Easter or spring, what do you think about? What goes through your brain when you hear the word Easter or spring? I'll let you think about that for a second. Come up with an answer. Okay, hopefully you got it. So when I think about Easter or spring, I think about flowers and I think about buying something to wear to church that Sunday so you can see everybody in their Easter best, and then you get to take pictures after church and you go home and you eat a great Easter meal and you learn about all the amazing things Jesus did for you that day, right? And we have lessons about it leading up to that point and sermons about it in church. That's kind of what I think about. But really, Easter is one of those things that we can celebrate all year and we celebrate all the time because it's the reason we have our faith and it's the reason we can believe in Jesus and can believe on what he did. So, one of the things people sometimes think about when they think about Easter is new life. What kind of new life happened around Easter? Talked about that one last week, so hopefully you remember. Easter decorations might include eggs, bunnies, or flowers as a reminder of new life. Each of us have been given life on this earth, but is this all there is? Well, last week I think we learned something about that would kind of answer that question. Is there hope after your life on earth is over? Let's see. We're going to talk about life and hope today. So we're going to be going through our first 2 parts and hopefully you enjoy. So here we go. So it says, God used a family who lived about 2,000 years ago to teach an important lesson about life and death. In this family, there were 2 grown-up sisters and this grown-up brother. Now, they loved each other very much, and we learn about this family in the Bible, which is called God's Word. So what God says is true and right. So we have learned that, right? And everything in there is, without a doubt, true. And it's written by God. So the sisters were Mary and Martha, and their brother was Lazarus. I bet if you've been in church for a while and you've thought about it, or even if you haven't, you probably know the name Lazarus. The Bible also tells us they had a friend who was very well known, and his name was Jesus. Jesus traveled a lot and taught people about God and about living God's way. Jesus even did amazing miracles, things only God could do. Jesus could do miracles because he is the Son of God. He came from heaven to be born of a human baby, to live on the earth among the people he created. Now, Jesus has all of God's power because he is God, right? We've learned about that a long time, that he is God. He came to earth and he took the form of a baby, and he grew up as a person and a human, but he was still part God, which is kind of crazy when we think about it. It's kind of one of those things that's a little hard to wrap your mind around, but just know that when he came to earth, it was kind of like God walking amongst us, because he was part God and part human. Some people didn't understand Jesus. In fact, some people hated him. They wanted to kill him. Others heard what he taught and saw that what he did and believed that he is the Son of God. Mary, Martha, and Lazarus believed in Jesus and were good friends with him. They loved him and he loved them. But one day, Lazarus became very sick. His sisters were so worried about him. They worried that Lazarus wouldn't get better. So they did the best thing they knew to do. They sent for Jesus. He was their only hope. So remember in the title of our lesson, right? Jesus gives hope. When Jesus got the news, he waited for a few days before going to Lazarus. Now during those days, Lazarus died. Jesus waited because he had a plan. Now often that happens. Jesus will sometimes do something that we don't understand, or that we think maybe you should have done it quicker, or you should have done it this way, or why didn't you answer my prayer right then and right there, right? But the funny thing is, he always has a plan, and it always works out according to what is best for you and what God can use for his glory. And in this case, Lazarus dying was able to show something really special. So, this is when Jesus got there. Here's your new picture. 4 days after Lazarus died, Jesus arrived with his disciples. The first thing Mary and Martha said when they saw Jesus was, "Jesus, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." They were right. Jesus could have kept Lazarus from dying. He had healed people before, but Jesus allowed Lazarus to die because he wanted to show his friends something important about himself. This is something that they hadn't seen before. He wanted to show his friends that he was God. Now, Martha was very sad that her brother had died, but Jesus told her, though, that we might say today is, "I am the one who raises from the dead and gives them life again. Now, whoever believes in me will live." So Jesus gives life, right? He gives hope and he gives life. That seems like a strange thing for Jesus to say. Lazarus had believed in him, and now Lazarus was dead. So what did Jesus mean? Jesus was talking about two different kinds of life. Remember, we have physical life and we have eternal life. And that's found through Jesus only. Physical life is the life we have in our bodies, but that doesn't last forever, right? That's what we have right now. That's when we're walking on the earth, we're talking to one another, we're here, right? But eternal life does last forever. That's for people who put their trust in Jesus, believing that Jesus is the Son of God who can take away sin and will live with God now and forever. So remember, we've talked about that the past couple weeks, is having Jesus come in our life is this amazing thing that we get the opportunity to do. And it's such a simple thing. Remember, like we talked about, all you have to do is ask and you can receive it. You have to ask and believe, and that's it. It's so, so, so simple. And then he gives you what we call eternal life, where that life is where you belong to him, and you, once your physical life is over, can still live with him for eternity. So no matter what happens in their lives, God is with them now and will help them live his way. Eternal life is the hope people who believe in Jesus have. Hope is knowing for sure that God will do what he promises. So again, Jesus gives hope. Jesus asked Martha if she believed that he came to give life. And Martha did, obviously. But Martha knew who Jesus really is. He was the Son of God. He is the great, now, Jesus was the Son of God. He is the great creator. By his power, he gives life to everything in the world, including you. Jesus gives life. He knows each beat of your heart and each breath you take because he gave your body life from when you were growing inside your mom. So from the moment you came into existence, he knew how many heartbeats you have, how many breaths you take, how many hairs are on your head, what's going to happen from the beginning to the end, everything about you. He already knows. Now remember, we've talked about prayer and how God still wants us to tell him things, because he does, because he still wants us to have a conversation, a relationship with him. But the amazing thing about it is he does already know. Only he has the power to create life. Not only did God give your body life, he loves you with a love bigger and stronger and greater than we could imagine. And that is who Jesus is. So Martha knew Jesus is God. She said so. When Jesus saw the people who were sad about Lazarus dying and how sad Mary and Martha were, he was deeply troubled. He was sad with them for the sadness that death brings to the world because of sin there is death. And Jesus came to save people from sin and so that they can ask for forgiveness and believe and live eternally and have eternal life. But it's still a sad fact that he knew that. So Jesus asked to be taken to Lazarus' tomb. Tears came to Jesus' eyes. The Son of God, who is perfect, cried. Jesus cried for the sadness that death brings into the world. Now, maybe someone you loved has died, and it may have taken a long time before you felt normal again. Maybe you cried a lot. Maybe you were very sad. Maybe you saw family members crying. You didn't quite understand what it was yet. Or sometimes we're just very quiet afterwards. Sometimes we're angry. And we wonder why people have to die and why do people die. But there aren't wrong feelings. I mean, death does happen and it becomes part of our world because of sin. Sin brings pain and sadness and it affects you and me and everyone. And it separates us from God. When you do things your own way instead of God's way, you sin. Remember we've talked about how sin's anything we think, we say, or we do that breaks God's law. When sometimes it makes him sad. Because anytime we break his law, it does make him sad because he created each and every one of us. And he wants us to want to have a relationship with him because he gave us that amazing choice, right? But he still wants us to have a relationship with him. So he gets very sad when we sin or we do things our own way and not his way. Because of your sin, you are living separate from God. Sin also brings hopelessness, feeling like nothing will change and that you are stuck forever where you are. But Jesus, again, gives life and hope. So Jesus cried. He was crying because of the sadness death brings. When some of the people saw Jesus cry, they commented, "Look how much he loved Lazarus." Others said, "He made a blind man see." Couldn't he have healed Lazarus? The people took Jesus to the tomb. In those days when people died, they wrapped their bodies in strips of cloth and placed them in a cave called a tomb. Much like we learned about last week with the tomb that Jesus placed in and then later rose again 3 days and rolled that huge stone away. Then they covered the opening of the tomb with a large stone. Jesus looked at Lazarus' tomb with tears in his eyes. Jesus ordered the stone to be moved. Then he did what no one there would ever forget. He lifted his eyes to heaven and prayed, Then a voice which gave life to the world shouted, "Lazarus, come out!" Mary, Martha, and the crowd were amazed when Lazarus, who had been dead for 4 days, came out of the tomb. He was still wrapped in his grave clothes, and Jesus said, "Unwrap him and let him go." So that's all we're going to talk about this week. But next week, come back and we will finish learning about what happens with Lazarus, because now Jesus performed yet another miracle showing that he was God and he was God's son, and he's here on earth to save people from their sins, right? Like we learned last Sunday. And so next week we'll finish our story and find out what happens now that Lazarus is risen from the dead and from the tomb, and now he is out with everybody. And what such a miracle that was, and what faith that could give people. Because remember, faith is believing in something, right? When we have faith, we believe in something whether we can see it or not. So you have faith when you sit down, right, that a chair is going to hold you up. Or maybe you have faith that when you go outside and you get on a swing, that swing's not going to snap. It's going to let you sit in it, and you're going to get to go back and forth and really enjoy your time. Or whatever it is. We have faith and we believe that that's going to do it. And it's the same thing with Jesus. We have faith that he knows what's best for us and he's going to take care of us. And like we've talked about, believing in him is so simple. And asking him to come and be part of your life is so simple. Remember, we just have to ask him and believe, and that's all we have to do. And it's just that simple. And that's what people at that time, they did, because they saw all the amazing things that he did. And now we don't necessarily get to see him standing here doing miracles, but we get to know from the Bible that he has done them, and we get to see them through prayer and through talking to God. So remember to keep up with your time with God. Last week I didn't really give you a challenge, but this week I really want you to take 5 minutes a day and pray and spend just a little time with God, because right now we have a little extra time than we usually would. So it's our time to take time and show God that, yeah, we care. We want to spend time, no matter how young or how old we are, that we want to spend time with him. Because even though you're maybe like, well, I'm just a kid right now, we can still spend time and show him that we care and love him, because he's given us such an opportunity. And if you haven't made that choice yet, and you haven't asked him to be part of your life, it's so simple. All you have to say is ask Jesus to come and be part of your life, and that you're sorry for sinning. And that you're gonna sin again, because because we become part of God's family and we believe in him doesn't mean we can become perfect. Jesus was the only perfect person to walk on earth, and that's because he was God and God's son. And so it's just that simple, and we just have to believe, right? And it's easy for us to believe, right? Because we hear all these things in the Bible, and we hear our stuff, and we know that through the world and through prayer and through the Bible, that Jesus does exist and God does exist because of all the amazing things that he has done. So with that, I just hope you have an amazing week, and I still miss every one of you, and I hope that we can come back together really soon. So until then, bye guys.